To introduce to you Cubator, an organization that provides holistic ecosystem for startups to build high-value ventures. Rakesh is also co-founder and at IIT Mentor, where he has been very actively engaging with entrepreneurial ecosystem of Pan IIT fraternity since 2012. Prior to joining Xcubator, Mr. Rakesh was with Infosys, where he played a critical role in incubating various growth engines and commercializing technology innovations. He's also an alumni of IIT Kanpur. Mr. Rakesh, I would request you to take it forward from here. Thank you, Mr. Rakesh. I would like to introduce the panelists of this discussion. Professor Ashok Mishra, Chairman, Intellectual Ventures. Thank you, sir. Professor Ashok Mishra, please be seated, sir, is the chairman of Intellectual Ventures Indian subsidiary. He also serves as the chairman, Board of Governors, IIT Roorkee. He was the former director of IIT Bombay. During his tenure as director IIT Bombay, he was made into a leading R&D institution while maintaining its leadership in quality engineering education in India. Thank you, sir. Next, I would like to introduce Mr. Prakash Bhaskaran, CEO, Pawa Software. Thank you, sir. Mr. Bhaskaran is a serial entrepreneur who returned back to India after 15 years of work and business experience in the USA. His previous ventures were in the fields of IT consulting and telecom services. Mr. Bhaskaran graduated with a MS in Electrical Engineering from University of Akron, USA, and MBA from Southern Methodist University, Dallas, USA. He has 18 years of IT industry experience and has filed several patents and written multiple white papers in various topics. A big round of applause for Mr. Bhaskaran, please. Next, I would like to introduce Dr. Ajay Garg Deity. Thank you, sir. Mr. Rakesh, please take it forward.
More in terms of how really the importance of IP comes for really startup and the businesses, how do they can commercialize. I will begin with really to understanding the commercialization aspect itself, because IP, most of us I think have a broad idea what IP really means, but commercialization as a benefit that comes from the IP. I'm going to start with Dr. Mishra. You have been associated with a lot of IP commercialization and really the entire commercial aspect of with institutions and with the startups. In general, sir, in a layman term, we all understand IP commercialization really making money from IP. But really, when it comes to look at really the hardware and the technology-based startups, if they were to look at commercialization, how different ways? What are the different ways in which we can actually commercialize?
All right. So little correction, I have not been so much involved in commercialization, somewhat involved. Let me begin by saying, when you write a patent, you are protecting some knowledge from which you want to make money later on. There are some inventors who will patent, like for Rodkin when he did the X-ray, he said it's for public good, so I patented it because it's a new idea, but I will not take any remunerations. So this is the second kind. Why somebody will patent something? If you don't want to commercialize or license it to somebody else, with or without money, is a question that one has to answer. Several people, especially in the academics, referring to the previous session, they published a paper on a new idea, and then somebody uses it. There's no way you can go litigate and make money out of it. So the mindset should be that when you patent something, you have in mind that you have at least a chance of commercialization and so on. And if you don't, then probably it is not even worth patenting. Let me give you a statistic. In America, I may be off by a few percentages, but more than 50% patents are owned by the universities. Only 50% by the industry. The commercialization of the industrial 50% is only to the extent of 5%, for several reasons. A, they may not be so well written that they can be enforced. B, the universities are not aggressive enough. And C, sometimes they are of academic interest. It's a new idea, so you patent it, publish it later on, and so on and so forth. It looks good on your CV and resume. I work for a company called Intellectual Ventures. we operate a fund called Invention Development Fund. I'll take 1 or 2 minutes very quickly. And in this, we make a theme. So let us say we take a theme on databases or on some new materials for solar cells and so on and so forth. What we say is, we know the technology today and what will be the technology we expect 5 to 10 years from now. What are the missing gaps? And we challenge the inventors to give ideas. When they give ideas, we evaluate it for 2 things. One is novelty and so on, which was being discussed in the previous panel. And the second, is it commercializable? So it may be the best idea, but if we think it's not feasible, we don't want to spend the money because we are a fund. We are a $700 odd million fund. We don't want to spend the money to patent it because if we don't think it will make money. So rejecting a patent or a solution report that comes to us does not mean that it's not a good idea. It is just not. We don't think it's something which we can license. And then there is, of course, the whole scope of licensing. When you go to license, and if you have read this book written by Neeraj and I forget the other co-author's name. Okay. So if you see that, it's very clear that patent is a piece of paper which gives you a new idea. I'm putting it very bluntly. If you read that patent and you say that tomorrow I can go start making this in an industry, whether it's hardware, software, chemicals, electronics, mechanical, it's impossible because there's a big step of actually making that prototype happen, all those processes that are required, and so on and so forth. I'll just give a small example. We have a nanofluid which will give you a patent on that, which will give you 20% better heat transfer. So a huge advantage for a power industry. But when you use it, when you make it, is it cheap? Is it commercially viable? Will it do any fouling? And all those questions come up when you foul. So therefore, there is a lot of gap between actually implementation of a patent and the patent app. So to begin with, I think that's long enough. And when the questions come, I'll be happy to.
Thank you, sir. So, Dr. Ajay, government itself today is promoting a lot of innovation, a lot of entrepreneurship when it comes to R&D divisions as well. And it's more about awareness. But I also believe that I think the benefits that government is offering in terms of a subsidy that in IPR related expenses that go, commercialization happens to be one important aspect that government looks at. But if you look at the startup today, many of them, when they would have filed patent and they would have actually gone a process, they are quite far away from actually commercialization. So when from a government perspective, when you look at evaluate ideas or evaluate ventures, how do you look at commercialization? How do you evaluate that?
Filed a patent. You have invested a certain amount of money. If in India, it's small. If you are filing it internationally, it's big. And as Mr. Murthy told, that there is no guarantee that that filing will result in a grant of a patent. So in a whole, and you will get to know whether you are granted a patent or not granted a patent 3 to 5 years down the line. In India, it can be more. So you are taking, as a startup or as a filer, you are taking a huge risk of filing a patent and making your technology come into the public domain. So if I am supporting as a government an entrepreneur, if the entrepreneur is taking a risk of investing money and putting it into the public domain, if government is serious about supporting an entrepreneur, then it should also be in a position to take that risk. This scheme, that the patent support scheme that we actually are running in IT, called the Support for International Patent in ENIT, actually takes care of that. It does not. Most of the schemes in India which support patent registrations is post-grant. This is the first scheme in which the government supports the inventor in the process of his filing or he going through the process of patenting, and we do not look at that. We will only take this risk if he's granted a patent. If he falls through, if his judgment was a failure, our judgment was also a failure, we accept it as part of the scheme. That's one of the important aspects of CPIT scheme. we reimburse the 50% cost at all three stages, at the filing, examination, and grant. So we are taking the risk along with the entrepreneur. That's a mindset change the government has done with this scheme. So it's important that you not only, if an entrepreneur takes a risk, and a startup is all about risk. If he is taking a risk and I'm there to support you as in your startup venture, I should also be in a position to take risk. Now let me also get into something which, the commercialization aspect. If you look at it in India today, the startup ecosystem, it's all around business incubation. Technology startup is a very small number, and the number of people out here, many of them will be tech startups, but these might be the big number that is there in India. Most of them are business incubation. Why this is so? The ecosystem in India that exists do not allow the startups for a long for a gestation period which is long. And tech startups is that you break even in 10 years, 8 to 10 years, whereas the business startups might break even in few years, 3 to 4 years. And the whole ecosystem does not allow you to stretch your experimentation beyond that. One of the important aspects of IP, everyone talked about IP with a perspective of acquiring IP or protecting IP. One of the important aspects, and I think in which intellectual ventures also plays a very important role, is acquiring or taking license of prior IP. If you have actually identified an idea and identified what are the prior IPs available, identify them. If they are in the public domain, use it. If they are not in the public domain, license it, and work only on those ideas which have not been worked earlier. That will be the faster process of actually commercialization of an IP or a tech startup breaking even early, and which might be a better idea. So the technology acquisition fund that under the ESDM scheme that IT has launched is basically with an idea that tech startups come to the market early. We do not have an ecosystem in which they can experiment for long. So that is one important. The third aspect I want to talk about, that we only talk about patents. IP is not about patents only. It's about copyrights for softwares. It's about trademarks. Is one of the very key aspects. The first successful tech startup in India, that was Simputer way back in 2002, fell through because of a trademark litigation in US. It was a beautiful idea where the component-based open source products were used to create a low-cost computing device, and it fell through. It succeeded in the initial years. There was a beautiful licensing model built around it, but it fell through because there was a litigation against the word Simputer as such in USA, and they were actually penalized to the tune of some $2 million. Yeah.
It was a precursor to the...
So if that would have been a success story, this whole startups story in India would have started much earlier. Thank you.
That's right. So you touched upon licensing model in terms of IP, Dr. Ajay.